I go dinner of Shabbos. This week's Parshas Matos and Parshas Maseh, and we're going to talk about Parshas Matos. In Parshas Matos, we have the story of the Banane Garden, Bnei Ruvain. After all these years, Klal Yisrael is finally preparing to go to battle, to go to war, to conquer Eretz Yisrael, which has been Klal Yisrael's destiny since the days of Avram Avinu. And suddenly, in the middle of this story, Bnei Gad and Bnei Ruvain get up and shockingly ask Moshe Rabbeinu, the person whose only wish in life was to get to Eretz Yisrael and who never even made it there, tragically. And they stop and they ask Moshe Rabbeinu, and they say, actually, we don't want a piece of Eretz Yisrael. We want to settle Ever Hayarden. And Moshe Rabbeinu is beyond himself. He cannot believe that Bnei Gad and Bnei Ruvain are even asking this question. And he goes on 10 psukim's worth of admonishing Bnei Gad and Bnei Ruvain for even asking a thing like this. The Chazal point out that it wasn't just that they didn't want the Chelik in Eretz Yisrael, it was the reasons for giving it. The reasons for giving it were poor reasons. Their priorities were all messed up. They saw the land and they were more concerned with their livestock than they were with anything else. They were willing to forego their spiritual well-being, while the rest of Klal Yisrael would go in and take advantage of everything Eretz Yisrael, Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael, just for their own material needs. And this is what Moshe Rabbeinu was really upset about. It's interesting to note that originally it was only Bnei Gad and Bnei Ruvain who came to Moshe and requested to settle in the Transjordan. But when he gave them the land, half of Shevet Menashe also was suddenly included in this portion of the land. So how did that happen? So that's the question that's worth exploring. So even after Moshe Rabbeinu got upset and he admonished the Bnei Gad and Bnei Ruvain, they still had their priorities messed up. They say to Moshe Rabbeinu, we're going to build pens for our animals and then cities for our children. Again, they put their animals before their own children. So again, still focused on materialism. Even after getting admonished by Moshe Rabbeinu, 10 psukim's worth, they still didn't understand Moshe Rabbeinu's message. And then the Tziv points out that the Chatzi Shevet Menashe was put with Bnei Gad and Bnei Ruvain, not because they requested to be there, but Moshe Rabbeinu felt that Bnei Gad and Bnei Ruvain needed Chatzi Shevet Menashe. Chatzi Shevet Menashe was famous for its Torah scholars. Great Torah scholars were from Shevet Menashe, and Moshe Rabbeinu felt that they would need that influence. Bnei Gad and Bnei Ruvain were going to need that influence, and to further the point, the Nitziv says, they were given the biggest piece of land, and nobody objected. Bnei Gad, Bnei Ruvain did not object to Chatzi Shevet Menashe having the biggest portion of land, because perhaps they knew. Not only that, Chatzi Shevet Menashe was not bound by the same conditions that Bnei Gad and Bnei Ruvain were. This was perhaps an incentive that Moshe Rabbeinu gave to Chatzi Shevet Menashe to try to influence the Bnei Gad and the Bnei Ruvain. The lesson over here is twofold, I think. Number one is that sometimes people need Musar, and it's important to know when you need Musar. And that's what happened with Bnei Gad and Bnei Ruvain over here. I think they understood that they perhaps weren't really doing the best thing, which is why they were okay with giving over a big piece of the land to Chatzi Shevet Menashe. That's number one. Number two is, and this is the most important thing and the most important lesson, that Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to hammer home. You have to get your priorities straight. You have to think about your family before you think about your livestock. You have to think about your family before you think about materialism. Family is the most important thing. So let's all just try to take time to this weekend, this Shabbos, to appreciate our family as we are meant to do. Have a wonderful Shabbos.